Have you ever stared at a math problem and your brain just shuts down? Well, what if I told you that solving most real-world problems isn't about some crazy complicated formula? It's actually a lot more like following a simple, reliable recipe. So let's dive in and see how everyday math is something you're probably already a pro at.
This right here, this is the secret sauce for everything we're going to talk about today. It's a quote from a guy named Uncle Andy, and his simple wisdom just perfectly nails how to tackle any problem, whether you're in the kitchen or, staring at a spreadsheet.
So the story goes like this. It all started with a young woman named Jeannie. Her dad's birthday was coming up, and she wanted to make her Uncle Andy's legendary mac and cheese. Seems pretty simple, right? Well, she picked up the phone to get that famous recipe.
But Uncle Andy, he was serious about his cooking. He told her, listen, you have to be organized. Know what you've already got before you even think about going to the store. Write down exactly what you need. And you better make sure you have the right pan. He made it super clear. If you don't follow the process, you're going to be disappointed. And right then, a light bulb went off for Jeannie. She was like, oh, I get it. That's just like my math homework. You got to use the right formula, you need the correct numbers, and you have to make sure your answer isn't totally bonkers. And Uncle Andy was like, exactly. What Jeannie and her uncle were really talking about has a name. It's called applied mathematics. And it's not about those abstract headache-inducing theories. No, it's all about using a clear, logical process, a recipe, to solve the kind of real problems we all bump into every single day.
So, if math is a recipe, where's the actual recipe card? Well, you're in luck. There is a universal recipe card that works for pretty much any situation you can think of. It's a master strategy, and it's built on 4 really simple steps.
And here it is, our 4-step recipe. Step 1 is the question. What are we actually trying to figure out here? Step 2 is the info. What ingredients or data do we have to work with? Step 3 is asking, what's missing? Is there another ingredient we need to find before we can even start? And finally, step 4 is the strategy. Choosing the right tool to mix it all together and get our final answer. This is our playbook from here on out.
All right, enough theory. It's time to get our hands dirty and see how this recipe actually works in the real world. We're going to tackle a few everyday problems using our new 4-step strategy. Let's do this. Okay, first challenge. A soup company is designing a brand new label. Let's use our recipe. Step 1. The question is all about the label's size. Now let's think about step 2. What piece of information is absolutely essential to figure that out? All right, let's look at our potential ingredients. We've got the type of soup, the total surface area of the can, the weight of the soup inside, or the lateral surface area. Only one of these is the one we absolutely have to have. Which one is it? And the answer is the lateral surface area. This is a perfect example of why our recipe is so great. Think about it. The label only wraps around the sides of the can, right? It doesn't cover the top or the bottom. By identifying the exact piece of information we needed, we could just ignore all the other noise.
Okay, next problem. Mr. Hall is buying a car. He knows the loan is for $15,000 and he's got 36 months to pay it back. Now this time, we're really going to focus on step 3 of our recipe. What critical piece of the puzzle is he missing?
Think about it like a chef again. We've got the flour and the sugar, but we're missing a key ingredient to actually figure out the monthly cost. Looking at this list, which one of these makes the whole calculation totally impossible if you don't have it? You got it! It's the interest rate. Without that one number, that $15,000 loan is just a meaningless figure. You can't budget, you can't plan, you can't solve the problem. This just goes to show that figuring out what's missing is just as important as knowing what you've got. All right, one last challenge for our recipe. This time, we have all the ingredients, so we get to focus on step 4, choosing the right strategy. We know the distance is 500 miles, the average speed is 60 miles per hour, and there's a 30-minute stop planned. So how do we put it all together? Go ahead, take a second and try to cook this one up yourself. You're going to need to calculate the driving time, and then don't forget to add in that lunch break. What do you think the final answer is? And there you have it, about 9 hours. The strategy was pretty simple, right? You just divide the distance by the speed to get the driving time. So 500 divided by 60 is about 8.33 hours, which is 8 hours and 20 minutes. Then you just tack on that 30-minute lunch stop. Boom! The recipe works perfectly. So we've seen the recipe in action. But here's what's really cool. This isn't just about some made-up homework problems. This is about you. You're the chef now, and this strategy is your new favorite kitchen tool. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Math is not some big, scary, intimidating monster. It's a practical guide for thinking clearly. It's about being organized, knowing what you need, and following a process to get the result you want. Whether you're trying to figure out your budget, plan a road trip, or even just make a killer mac and cheese.
And that really brings us to the end. The power of this recipe is that it's yours now. You have the steps, you have the tools, and you absolutely have the ability to use them. So, the only question I have left for you is, what problem are you going to solve first?